Hi, welcome to Pennsylvania Barbecue. Today we're going to be doing a chuck roast. We're smoking chuck roast today. You know, if you've ever been intimidated by a brisket, if you never wanted to attempt one of those, that you've heard some things about those, that they're kind of hard to do or they're kind of expensive and you didn't want to go into that expense, a chuck roast is a good alternative. What we're going to do today is we're going to smoke this and we're going to shred it much like we do pulled pork. So we're going to have some good beef sandwiches when we're done with this today. Chuck roasts are relatively inexpensive. You can pick them up for $3 a pound when they're on sale. So it's a good alternative to a brisket if you don't want to invest in that much money. So we're going to get started here today. I'm going to actually be doing two of them. But the first thing we're going to do is put a binder on it, and we're going to add our favorite beef rub. In fact, today I'm using a brisket rub. So as you can see, you can use the same things that you can use on a brisket. So let's get started. We're going to add our binder. And so we're going to rub our binder all over. Make sure you get the bottom too. As you can see, there's some marbling in this, and that's one of the things we like about chuck roast is that'll render down as we smoke it, and it'll give us some good flavor, and it'll also help make the meat tender. That's one of the reasons we go with a chuck roast instead of maybe a sirloin tip roast or a round roast, something like that. So once you have your binder on, just go ahead and add your rub. Now this is going to take almost all day to do. We're probably going to have about 6-7 hours in this before we're ready to pull it, because we're going to let it rest once it's done for about 2 hours. One of the things we're going to do is we're looking for an internal temperature of about 150, 160 degrees. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take it out, put it in a pan of broth, and then we're going to put it back on the smoker and try to get it up to 205. I like going to 205. You know, if you're pushed for time a little bit, you can go 195, but I like to do the extra 10 degrees. So it's up to you what you'd rather do. So there we go. We're pretty much ready for the smoker. We're going to go out here now and get that ready. Again, I'll be smoking with pecan pellets today. I'm going to use my pellet grill, and we're going for a temperature of 250 degrees. So once our smoker's ready, we'll be back. Okay, we're back. We have our smoker ready. Again, I'm smoking with pecan pellets today. So I'm going to go ahead and put these roasts on. The only difference in the roast is I used a different rub on each one of them, just to kind of experiment, see which I like the best. So we're just going to go ahead and lay them in here. Now, one of the things that you could do that I didn't do, and I usually don't do with chuck roast, you could inject these with beef broth if you wanted to, but I've found that you don't really need to do that with a chuck roast. You may want to do that with a brisket. So they're on there now. As you see, we have some smoke going. So we're going to leave them on there. It's probably going to take 3-4 hours until we get up to around 160. And then when we do that, we'll come back. Now what I'm going to do also is they're going to be on there for about 3 or 4 hours. About halfway through, I'm going to flip them, and then I'm going to insert a meat probe so that we can monitor it to see when we're up to 160. So when we go to flip them, we'll be back. Okay, it's been a little over 2 hours, so we're going to go ahead and flip these. You can see they're coloring up pretty good. We're just going to give them a flip over. I'm also going to stick a meat probe in, and then we'll be shooting for 160. So we'll be back at that point. Okay, we're back. As you can see, one of our roasts has reached the 160 mark. So we're going to go ahead and pull that off, and I'll show you what we're going to do with it then. The one on the right is a lot thicker than the one on the left, so it still has a way to go. So I'm going to take the meat probe out of this one, just go ahead and stick it in the other one. and we'll come back out and get that. So all we're going to do is just pull this off. And we're going to add some broth to it. Okay, so we have this one, it's reached temperature of 160. So we're going to go ahead and add some broth to this. I've already heated this broth. You want to heat it a little bit. You don't want to put cold broth on your meat. So we're going to do that. Put a little bit of that underneath it. We're going to cover it with foil then and put it right back on the smoker. Or what you could do as well is take it inside and put it in the oven, because we're done with smoke now. We're just looking for heat. That's exactly what I'm going to do with this one. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the oven. Still running about 250. And it'll still be a couple hours because we're looking for a temperature of 205. So we're going to go ahead and cover this one, get it inside, get it in the oven. Okay, we're back. And as you can see, we're finished. This reached 205 degrees about 2 hours ago. So we took it out of the oven and we just left it rest for 2 hours, just so it doesn't keep cooking, and just a slow cool down. So now what we're going to do is go ahead and pull it. Okay, so as you can see, it has some good color to it. It's very moist. And so we're getting ready to pull it. We're just going to pull it for shredded beef sandwiches. I like to wear just a pair of cotton gloves, put a pair of vinyl gloves over it. You know, you can use the bare claws, you can use 2 forks, you can just use your fingers, whatever you want to do to shred this. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And it comes apart really easy, as you can see. And we just shred it just like you would if you were doing a piece of pork. Get that all shredded. And then what we'll do is, once we have it all shredded, I'm going to put it back in a foil pan, maybe add some of that broth that we used, some of the beef broth we used before. And I'm going to go ahead and put it in the oven because we're going to just keep it warm for dinner tonight. So I'll probably just add some of that back in. Okay, so let's review what we did here today. We took our chuck roast and we put a binder on it of mustard, and we added our favorite beef or brisket rub. And we put that all over it, on the side, top, and bottom. And we got our smoker ready, and today we smoked with pecan pellets at 250 degrees. And it took about 3 or 4 hours, it took almost 4 hours to get it to 160. So when we got to the temperature of 160, we went ahead and we took a foil pan, added some warm beef broth to it, and then put our roast in and covered it. And then we put it in the oven for a target temperature of 205 degrees. Like I said, if you're pushed for time, you can do it to 195, but you got to go at least to 195 so it shreds pretty easily. So we went to 205. At that point, we removed it from the oven, we covered it, and we left it rest for about 2 hours. 2.5 if you can afford that, but leave it go at least 2 hours, and then we started to pull it. These are going to make some really great sandwiches. We like to use Kaiser rolls and maybe add some horseradish sauce to it, but you can add your favorite barbecue sauce to it, and it'll really make a great sandwich for you. If you like what you see here at Pennsyltucky Barbecue, like us on Facebook, share us with your friends, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's called Pennsyltucky Barbecue too. And remember, until next time, God loves you and has a plan for your life. We'll see you then.